Welcome to Finding Hope, the End to Suffering. Hosted by psychologist, author, and co-founder of the Colorado Institute for Conflict Resolution and Creative Leadership, Dr. Barry Weinhold, with national radio host, award-winning producer, and inspirational speaker, Patricia Raskin.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to our last installment with our wonderful guest, Dr. Arnold Nerenberg, to our series, which is called Finding Hope, the End to Suffering. I'm Patricia Raskin, your co-host, with the brainchild of this series, Dr. Barry Weinhold, who has written over 70 books and really has talked so much about beliefs, and chose Dr. Arnold Nerenberg as our guest for this series because he has such a compelling story and is helping thousands of people. So welcome, Barry. And Barry, do you want to add anything before we do our final segment with Dr. Nerenberg?
Well, just that as the story unfolds, it takes a lot of twists and turns. And the last episode, we talked a lot, and Arnold talked a lot about how he got involved in a felony and then how he found his way through that to really use that felony to turn his life completely around and do the things he's now doing. And I want this segment or this episode for him to talk about all the things that he's developed and what he's doing with other people about his way of honor and the commandments of honor and how that's affected his life and how he sees, and I know he's done some research on this, so how he's seen that it's affected the lives of other people that he's encountered. So I'm really anxious to hear the rest of the story. Hi, Arnold.
Hey, Barry, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Hi.
See Patricia, this is just lovely having this time together. I like that background you have there of those autumn trees. That's just lovely.
That's what we used to live in Appalachia, and this is what our fall looked like. And so,
oh my God, I miss fall. California, we don't see that kind of, that's beautiful.
So, you were telling us, Arnold, about this code of honor. So I think what we'd like to do is in this segment, just kind of an ending, maybe a little bit of a short recap of what you went through that led you to this and now how you're helping people.
Good.
Well, what led me to this constructive, transcendent approach to life has been pain and suffering. I'm sure I never would have gone this path if I hadn't suffered, if I hadn't made a lot of mistakes that were moral, legal, emotional, medical, nutritional. I had many medical setbacks as well in my life. So all of that prompted me to go forward. As I said before, the principle came to me one day: enshrined within your deepest struggle is the seed of your nobility, your destiny, and your legacy. And when I did that, once I understood that, I embraced my struggle. And rather than hide my struggle from myself or others, you can't even, not only can't you achieve wisdom without struggle, you can't achieve the wisdom. You can't even know another person. If you don't know that person's struggle, you don't know the person. You have to know what they've gone through, how they've dealt with it to really know the person. If all you know is that they're making money, the marriage is good, that's good, but it's not enough. You gotta know what was underneath that, what led to that. So we're not even known to one another if we don't share the struggle. So I say, not only embrace our own struggle, but if we want to get to be close to other people, we have to share the struggle. That's an important part of getting to know each other, to be interested in each other's struggles and communicate that to one another and help one another with it, but ultimately to really know one another. So what it led to me, I had already developed power thoughts, and I took 4 of them and made them 4 commandments of honor. It's either you take one or 2, depends on whether somebody believes in God or not. I seek always to serve my highest values, or God, your wish is my only wish, which is the one I choose. I wish you well. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems, and I'm grateful for the power I gain from hardship. Then there's a pledge to be a disciple of honor. People raise their right hand and repeat after me. As a disciple of honor, I pledge myself all the days of my life for the 4 commandments of honor, and I'll teach them to those I love. I'll repeat them every morning, afternoon, and evening, and listen to myself recite them. I interviewed over 1,100 people and I published a study on it. And I found no matter how despondent, how down they were, when they took that pledge, over 95% of the people felt good. Over 95% of the people felt more hope. And over 92% of the people felt more meaning in their lives immediately. So that's been tremendous effect right there. Then I've done other studies where people feel more self-control, more self-esteem, more self-respect through following this path. Then we want to maximize the potential of maximizing the probability that we're going to apply the commandments of honor in any given situation. So I developed what I call the bridge from the realm of honor to the realm of reality. And the bridge is this: what's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do?
Right.
So you do the 4 commandments of honor and you do the bridge. God, your wish is my only wish. I wish you well. I take full responsibility for co-creating my reality and my problems. I'm grateful for the power I gained from hardship. What's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? That will take people. Every session I talk to my patients, how often you say your commandments of honor. I also have a website called honortherapy.com. That's a paid one. I have the free one that doesn't have as many videos, called honormovement.org. But my people all pay that $15 a month. They watch the videos. So they're watching the videos to support the growth in honor. They're doing the commandments of honor and the bridge. Then for people who want to go more advanced into the system, I have what I call the supremacy of honor code. The supremacy of honor code is this: honor before pride, honor before money, honor before anger, honor before sex, honor before fear, honor before everything, honor before life itself. So people who want to go to this elite level, a higher level of honor, they then take this pledge. As a devotee of honor, I pledge myself all the days of my life to the supremacy of honor code. And I'll bring it to the world for a more just society. So now you have something where we're bringing it to society. The other one was to bring it to ourselves and our loved ones, to be a disciple of honor. This is bringing it to the world for a more just society. Now I have found that one's impacted my dreams. It used to be in my dreams, some terrible person or monster be chasing me. In my dreams, I've stood up more with that. So it's affected my dreams. And I only offer that to some of my patients that I feel are very sincere in the way of honor. Then I have others. I have the law of respect. Now those are the core program. But then I have others that I call laws of honor, extreme respect always. God willing, I'll respond more to your vulnerability than your negativity. God willing, I'll respond more to my vulnerability than my negativity. I'll come back stronger than ever. What's the best true story I can tell myself about this problem? And I have the laws of love that I use. I love you, I adore you, I like you, I respect you, I appreciate you. I'll do anything for you. You're my first priority always. I like you. So I have these going on. These are some of over there. And then I apologize. I was wrong. You were right. Please forgive me. These are laws of humility. I apologize. I was wrong. You were right. Please forgive me. I've now always lived with honor. I will die with honor. This is a nexus of them. I have others that I use, and I teach certain ones to others. If they're going through a divorce or a split up, I'll give them one of the laws of honor. I release you to your destiny, and I wish you well. So the resolution in my system of all problems, of all the twisted beliefs, I don't actually get them to correct the twisted beliefs, although that's a wonderful approach and be done simultaneously. I have the people find, what's the best true story I can tell myself about this problem? I had a person come to me. Her son was shot 9 times. So it was a nightmare. She was weeping. I said, oh my God, I'm a parent of 7 children. That's a parent's nightmare. I said, it's terrible. It's a tragedy. I feel so much compassion for you. But as a psychologist, I understand the psychodynamics of your suffering. I said, what if I told you that the best true story you can tell yourself about this problem that'll give dignity, nobility, and honor to you and to your son? She said, what is that, Dr. Nerenberg? Really? I said, yeah. Are you ready for the healing medicine? She said, yeah. They couldn't kill my son. They shot him 9 times. God has a purpose for his life. She went from tears, honestly. Oh, her face just lit up. She says, yeah, God does have a purpose for his life. Now, most of my patients believe in God, not 90%. They're Latinos with very spiritual community. But I have things for people that don't believe in God, like such as I seek always to serve my highest values. But yeah, She walked out floating. So a week later, she was still smiling. I said, did you tell your son what I said? He said, yeah. Well, how do you smile? He said, he smiled, he laughed. So always to find the best. So I didn't go into all her history, her childhood, although that's extremely valuable, extremely. But I teach people a principle that they can use, not only in what they come with the presenting problem. I tell my patients, look, I make my living through treating great people like you. I'm grateful, extremely grateful. But my real intention is to uplift you and your descendants for the rest of your life. And with this knowledge, you can do that with these commandments of honor, the bridge, supremacy of honor code, the honor teachings. And I have a book called The Teachings of Honor. And so this is going to change. My intention is to uplift you for the rest of your life. That's my real thing. I have to make a livelihood, so I'm grateful for the money you pay me. But my real agenda, that's really secondary to your growth, your development, your transcendence. So one of the way within it's called the Nerenberg model of reframing and decision-making. So when I wrote my articles, I put it in those terms because it fits into existing nomenclature. But it's really just the way of honor. But I present it in that way. What's the best true story I can tell myself about this problem?
Mm-hmm.
I say to people, look, the suffering is real. We can't deny it. The pain, the suffering, the misery is totally real. And I feel compassion for you.
Yeah.
But it's not the whole story. It is not the whole story. Let's finish that story.
All right, let me just, Barry, your comments about this.
Yeah, a couple things. I think the one thing you said, Arnold, that is really a very vital tool is that bridge. But anytime, anywhere, you can use that. I mean, anything in your life comes in front of you and you have to decide what to do, using the bridge. Say it again. It's a very important.
What's the most honorable thing to think, say, and do? And I teach people how to deal with the thoughts, what they say, and what they do.
At the moment, yeah, that's it. I mean, I think that's really important. And then your whole idea of reframing is just, I use it all the time. In fact, I had this client who got fired. And he was really down on himself for getting fired. And he came in and talked to him, and I said, well, gee, you graduated. You now are able to go beyond where you were with that other job. And he looked at me and he thought, wow, that's true. I don't need to be in that job anymore. I know that I can do more than I could do on that job. So, I mean, again, the reframing can be at the right moment, can be extremely powerful tool for helping people shift their reality.
You know, I had a patient, same thing. He got fired. He was the head of security and he got fired. He was totally despondent. He had that job for 30 years, very despondent. He said, it wasn't just the money. He said, people would give me so many gifts at Christmas time and I had so much respect. He got fired. It was in a way, it was a justifiable firing. He wasn't willing to face that at the time. I said to him in the first session, I said, within 4 weeks, you're going to tell me that it's the best thing that ever could have happened to you. Uh-huh. He said, you got to be kidding. I said, no, I'm not kidding. Well, it didn't take 4 weeks. It was 3 weeks. He said to me, Doc, I got to tell you, it's amazing. It is the best thing that ever happened to me. He said, you know, all these years I've gotten up 5 in the morning, going to work, come home. I a good marriage. But, you know, it wasn't. But in all those years, my wife never thanked me for slaving away to make a good livelihood. Never any gratitude for what I did. She came home. She came back recently. She has a job. She came back home recently. And she said, don't think I didn't notice how you cook for me and how you vacuum. I've always loved you, but I love you more than ever. He said, that made it all worth it right there. I never heard that from my wife. It was the best thing that could have happened to me being home. And then he went on, and he also had some complaints about how he got fired. And I said, you're lucky they didn't sue you for what you did. You're just lucky because he did some things that he could have had a lawsuit. You should just be grateful. So he changed the story about his being a victim to, gee, when anybody would say they gave you a raw deal, he'd say, heck no, I'm just lucky they didn't sue me.
Well,
So, yeah.
yeah, that idea of what is the
Yeah.
most positive story you can tell about what's happening to you right now. Or
And also
What's-
reframing, right? Reframing too, Barry and Arnold, being able to look at it, totally flipping it on its head, if you will, and seeing it very differently, which is what you're helping people do.
The best true story they can tell themselves about that problem.
Well, let me just say, we only have a few minutes left, so we really
Okay.
do want to get your points and your wrap up and a little bit about, people, certainly we will put your information up, but anything people need to know if you're doing courses or how people can contact you. But we kind of want to get your message here, the kernel of everything you're saying. You may want to
Okay.
repeat the 4 honor codes again.
Well, okay, let me tell you something. Firstly, I have that free public service website, honormovement.org. And then my email, Nerenberg5@yahoo.com. I want to just announce this to everybody. I don't want your money. I'm making plenty of money. I don't need more patients. I'm super busy. I'm at age 80. I probably have the biggest practice in the country. I'm just working on. I love the people I'm working. So I don't need your money. I really want to uplift you. I don't want to make a penny from you from any of it. Okay. I make my money here. That's enough. In fact, I'd like to make less. So this thing is for you. For those who are listening, I want you to benefit from my path, my mistakes, and what I've discovered. I'm putting it at your feet free for you to uplift yourself and your families. That's my message to you.
Wow.
That's incredible. Barry, your thoughts about this? Amazing.
Well,
Amazing.
I'm just totally moved by it. I mean, I'm
Me too.
almost speechless. I mean, he says it, Arnold, you say it so well and so clearly. There's nothing I could add to it. It just is eloquent and very true and very comes straight from your heart. That's the main thing.
Well,
That
and
eloquence
how much you really
comes
wanna
from
help
my
people.
depression. Shit, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, how much you want to help people. I mean, it's really, you're on a mission. You can see
Yeah.
that.
My job is to bring honor to the world. That's my job now. First, I had to bring it to myself, attempt to bring it to my family, and then bring it to the world, the honor movement.
So I want to ask you one thing before we close, because we have just a couple minutes left. What do you say to people listening to this who have shame, that want to turn their story around? What do you say to them?
Well, you want to ask, what's the best true story about what you're going through? Some things, sometimes we need to be ashamed about something. Not everybody's capable of shame. We're ashamed of something that could be good. You don't want to kill yourself with it. Then you have to look at how you can help other people. What kind of contributions? I made contributions through my felony, through my cowardice. I made, and there are many more stories I have, but our time is limited. So you want to find what's the best true story. Whatever is making you ashamed is a true story, but it's not the full story. You got to look at what the gain is, what kind of contribution you can make. And believe me, whatever brought you to shame, there's a contribution you can make to other people so that they can benefit from what you have. The worst thing is to go through the suffering you've been through and to think it's meaningless.
Right.
The way to give meaning to your life and to that trauma or that shame is to find a way to serve other people and society, add value to others. That gives meaning to it. So it was not in vain. It makes it from the trivial to the meaningful.
Mhm. Thank you. Barry, closing thoughts. It's
Closing
fantastic.
thoughts are that I'm really glad we invited Arnold to come on, and
Me too.
what he has said is really at the heart of why I created this podcast, to help people see that they can turn their lives around and find hope, and out of their suffering they can learn how to do that. And Arnold demonstrated and talked about how eloquently how he did that, and I think it's a great model for everyone to follow and gain from. So thank you, Arnold.
Thank you, both of you. I'm so grateful to both of you for this opportunity to share this. Extremely grateful.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, again, thank you, Patricia, for
So
your...
Barry, your closing thoughts tonight and today. And I know that we have another guest coming on for our next series. We do a
That's right. I need
series
to say
with
something
one
about
guest for 4 weeks.
our
Yes.
next guest in 4 weeks. Is going to be a remarkable story of a woman who decided, she wrote a book called The Spare Room. And she and her husband decided to take street people into their home
Mm.
and give them love, support, comfort, and the things that they weren't getting on the street. And her stories in her book are just truly remarkable. So we'll be interested in hearing from Emily Chang and her journey to help and to create a legacy for people, that they give back in similar ways or other ways, any way they can, to help people less fortunate than they are. And I think that's her message, and it's a powerful message.
Yeah. And I want to thank you, Barry, for creating this series. It's very powerful. And also for you being on, Dr. Nerenberg. I mean, it's all very powerful. Yeah. And I know, Barry, you opened the show, a few weeks ago talking about support for the shows. So I don't know if you want to say anything about that.
Well, it's we're trying to keep this show going, and it's a struggle financially. And so any donations that help us sustain this effort are greatly appreciated. And you saw and you can go to our YouTube page at the bottom. It tells you where you can donate.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Well, this wraps up this edition in this series of Finding Hope.
We'll see you next time.
And suffering. All right. Thank you, Dr. Nerenberg. Bye, Barry.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Patricia and Barry. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
This episode was brought to you by the Colorado Institute for Conflict Resolution and Creative Leadership. Find out more about these resources at weinholds.org. Dr. Weinhold is the author or co-author of 75 books on psychology, including his latest book, Get Real: The Hazards of Living Out of Your False Self, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and more. Patricia Raskin is the host of the nationally recognized program, The Patricia Raskin Positive Living Show, and is currently heard on voiceamerica.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and more. New episodes of Finding Hope: The End to Suffering can be found every Wednesday. If you like the show, please leave a review and give us a rating.